Welcome to Work to Live, Not Live to Work. This is a special Black History documentary that I want to take you along my journey with my travels across different states, just exploring and experiencing my own history and culture. My journey begins in Selma, Alabama on a rainy day. As I cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge, here's my story. So, this is like my second time crying today. That I just crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and what's so historic about it is that through the whole 40 miles, it's marked. The whole highway, the route is marked. Historic route. I just want to capture this moment that I'm feeling right now. And I had to record because it's an actual bridge that people use. And it is literally raining right now. It is 60 degrees, but I think it's a cold rain outside. I haven't gone outside yet. But it's just so unbelievable. As a little girl, or I was in elementary school, I wrote these stories and book reports on Martin Luther King Jr. And to actually experience or drive those 40 miles where they actually marched and walked from 40 miles, wow. And not once, not twice, but they did this 3 times until they crossed this Edmund Pettus Bridge. And that's why I'm so proud of my people, and I can't let my culture down. Because the first time the experience was they were turned around, they went back. The second time was Bloody Sunday. The third time they crossed this Edmund Pettus Bridge, and I hate to break down the history, but as I was researching and Googling who Edmund Pettus was, Edmund Pettus was a leader of the Ku Klux Klan. So I guess that's what makes this so much more monumental for me as far as right now crossing this bridge. It's raining. I have on sandals, but I'm getting out of this car and I'm gonna take my picture with the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Not to represent Edmund Pettus, of course not, but to represent the march. It's just the power of it. This is years ago, and I'm still feeling the emotion of it. It's just like, wow. If you are going to venture out to see the Edmund Pettus Bridge, take your kids, take your family, explain the story, the history, read up about it, Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights movement and everything that was going on, why Rosa Parks said on the bus, why this march walk was so important. It was non-violent acts. That was what Martin Luther King was all about, non-violent. If it turned to violence, that was not what he wanted to be. That's the same way I'm feeling right now. It's just, I want to contribute. There's so much I want to do right now. And, I want to make change or make a difference, but non-violently. Some people would go through what I just saw and feel like, oh, I can't stand those people, or I can't believe what they put me through, or my ancestors, or whatever. That's not the point of it. The point is for you to come through, come on top, and you be the change you wish to see. So many people say, oh, they need to change that. They need to fix this. That they is you. It starts with you. Edmund Pettus Bridge. So I'm here in Tuskegee, Alabama, where I'm currently on top of the control tower, which is 4 stories high, of the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site, where Tuskegee Airmen took training to fly for World War I. This is their base training.
Cadets who graduated from primary training moved to nearby Tuskegee Army Airfield, and there was an ongoing need for coordination between the 2 airfields. Staff first moved into the Army office in the fall of 1941. With war on the horizon, there was a rush to get facilities up and running. An Army report describes the scene.
There were no windows or screens. The floors were not finished. Captain Parrish and Lieutenant Magoo used one table as their desks. A typing chair was borrowed from the contractor. The flies, gnats, and mosquitoes were so troublesome that Captain Parrish brought a bottle of citronella for the personnel to use behind their ears to repel the insects.
Motel remained a work in progress.
The home and visitor center for another amazing African American leader, Frederick Douglass, is located in Washington, D.C. Okay, so it's like freezing cold, and I've made it here to Washington, D.C. to see the Martin Luther King Jr. monument. It's been here for a few years, but I never actually viewed it, so this is my first time here, and I'm just excited to be here on his day, and I have the day off, and what other better way to be with Martin Luther King Jr. on the day, and the reason I have work off. All right. I made my way to Memphis, Tennessee, where I discovered Beale Street, which was the most iconic street in Memphis, Then I had a photo op with the most famous Orpheum Theater, where they had a walk of fame, and I had to take a picture of a few of those awesome names there. Along the Mississippi River, I discovered the Tom Lee Park. Let me tell you about Tom Lee. Tom Lee was a river worker that saved 32 passengers from a sinking steamboat M.E. Norman, which is so totally amazing because Tom Lee didn't know how to swim. The Lorraine Motel is now known as the National Civil Rights Museum and is also known as the location where Martin Luther King was assassinated. After Rosa Parks refused to get up from her seat from the bus, began the Montgomery bus boycott. The boycott lasted for 381 days. What ended the boycott was the end of segregation on buses.
Please move to the back of the bus. I need that seat now. Please move back. If you can sit there on other buses, suppose you get off and into one of them. If you don't move out of that seat, I'll have you arrested. Get up from there.
In 1955, if you had not moved by this point, you would be arrested.
It is also the location where Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. The person that assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. was James Ray, and a part of the admission to the museum, you can go to the building across the street and view the location where he was assassinated from. Martin Luther King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, in front of room 306. From inside the National Civil Rights Museum, you can see Dr. Martin Luther King's room as it was the day he was assassinated. Paul Laurence Dunbar's house is located in Ohio. He was one of America's first black poets. The Lincoln Theater was built during segregation and allowed for jazz artists to perform freely during that time. The Ohio University Stadium is named Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium because Jesse Owens himself broke a lot of world records himself there at the university. So I'm at the Museum of Detroit History, Detroit Museum of History. Yes. And this is like a tribute to like Aretha. They have this whole little area here. And my hand fit her prints perfectly. Like, I can't believe it. Like, we have the same hand size. Like, this must have been like the plus size Aretha, not the smaller Aretha. Because as you can see, I'm pretty much plus size. So I danced my way to the Motor City of Detroit, where I visit the Detroit Historical Museum, and they were definitely having those cars made on the faux assembly line there, and it was just amazing to see these items being put together. One of the reasons that brought me to Detroit was the amazing movie Detroit about the Algiers Motel shooting. I was so happy to find out that this museum had an exhibit for the Algiers Motel. After leaving the museum, I had to find the real location, which is here, and it's located at Woodward Avenue and Virginia Park, the Algiers Motel. in front of the historic Idlewild Flamingo Club that was infamous for being a part of the Idlewild Resort Company in the late 1960s. And it was just basically a wonderful spot for African Americans to come and enjoy. They had hotels, they had homes. This was a lake. Right now it's being in the winter, so this is some point at a lake for people to come and enjoy themselves. And I was intrigued by it because I actually was at the Motown records place, the Motel historic, where Berry Gordy started Motown, Hitsville, U.S.A. And it was intriguing that Berry Gordy's parents met at Idlewild Resort Company. This is history. Just amazing. Last but certainly not least, Motor City's Hitsville, U.S.A. Oh my goodness, I was blown away by this museum creator and innovator, Berry Gordy. So right now I'm in the Motown Museum, and this is where history happened. This is the actual Studio A of Hitsville, USA. I'm standing here where history has taken place. This studio, if you see the pictures, are where meetings took place. Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, the Supremes, Michael Jackson, everybody, the Four Tops, the Temptations, all recorded in this studio at one point or another. They played on the instruments that you're seeing here. This is even the drum set that little Stevie Wonder played on. So you've had some point of history in here that is just so amazing, and it all took place here at Hitsville, USA. While you're here, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notifications when the next video comes out. Give the video a thumbs up, and if you're brave enough, please leave a comment. Thank you so much for tuning in to Work to Live, Not Live to Work, your source for everyday savings, travel recommendations, and of course, couponing.